Spectacular.
Hello, and welcome to everybody's favorite Thursday Player 3 podcast show, 3 Topic Thursday with Luke and Diz. I am your host, Luke Croft. Alongside me, we have Dizzy. That's already his nickname, Cooper.
Dude, this is weird because I see myself delaying.
Yeah, you can't watch the screen.
I'm going to keep watching the screen, though.
It's just going to distract you.
Dang it.
I'm very excited, Diz.
Yes.
There's a lot of stuff happening. There's a lot of changes being made across the board. First of all,
You're doing the surgery.
I'm doing the surgery.
Finally.
So brave. Now, as you saw walking through my front door today, my house is a complete and utter wreck.
What else is new? I need to stop being a jerk.
That kind of hurt just a little.
What?
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But regardless, the house is a wreck because we were moving, and everything is in shambles as we box everything up, and we're moving to a house in the city.
And that means that there's going to be a change of scenery, which is going to be great.
Yes, I'm incredibly excited. Well, first of all, I had this stopwatch pulled up so that I could time out when all of our topics were over. That didn't happen. But anyway.
Well, it hasn't started because we're introing.
Yeah, but the show has started.
I'll stop interrupting.
But anyway, so we're moving over to a house in the city. I got a new laptop. As you can see, the quality of the video, hopefully, for those of you that are watching, the quality of the video is greatly improved. And through this new laptop that is much, much faster, we are now able to, wait for it, do this. Check us out. That's where we are. We're streaming, and everybody's going to love it because we're going to be able to actually show people what we're talking about when we start talking about some piece of pottery that's on eBay that's shaped in a phallic way. The phone is a buzzing.
Sorry to hear.
Yeah, Ben texted us, and what's it? Hold on, this is a personal 3 podcast right here.
3 places.
Oh, that stinks. All right. Yeah. I'll text him back here in a second. Anyway. So, we got this new laptop going. We got this new process. And then we've got a bunch of secret stuff. a bunch of clandestine plans in the works right now. And I think in about a month, the fans of our show are going to be very, very excited. And we are very excited about what's happening because Player 3 Podcast is going to be getting a little bigger.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be expanding a little bit, going to be bringing you some new stuff, giving y'all some new opportunities to interact with us, be a part of us as we are a part of you, being a part of us as I am a part of this.
It's bigger than this salad. Yeah. I'm excited about that. Put me where you want me.
Yes.
Use me up.
Yes. Anyway, so very exciting stuff for Player 3 Podcast. Dizzy, how are you doing, buddy? I feel like we haven't hung out in a while.
It's been a while. I've been incredibly busy lately. I'm done with camp, thankfully. Took some mini vacations after that. That takes a lot out of you. And I wasn't even a dean.
Did you scalp any children?
I cannot legally say that because we were recording.
That's true. Hold on, I'll stop the stream real quick.
Okay. So, dude, it was like 6 kids. It was what?
Oh, yeah, I turned it back on. I am loving all of this new stuff that we can do. Everyone's going to hate it because we're just going to sit here and we're just bouncing back and forth. Everyone's going to get very upset.
And wait for you to switch over at the wrong time. And it's John Stamos.
Oh, we can get John Stamos.
You look at the background.
Like, you don't even have to worry about us getting John Stamos on the screen. That's going to happen. Hold on. First of all, he got arrested for a DUI. Oh, and he went to rehab to save his career and Fuller House. Gosh, he is so brave. All right, let's make sure that there's no nipples here before we do this. We're good. There's John Stamos for us, ladies and gentlemen. Uncle Jesse.
Right there. There it is.
Seriously, man. It doesn't get any better than that. All right. Anyway, back to us.
We're married to women.
We are married to women. All right. Here we are. At 3 Topic Thursday.
Yes, sir.
For those of you that don't know what 3 Topic Thursday is, it's very, very simple. Today is Thursday, as one might guess.
Don't we have an app about that?
No, we have an Is It Tuesday app, and it's not.
Dang it.
But anyway, we get together every Thursday two good friends, three good topics, and all of our awesome Player 3 podcast fans in the Twitch world and over on youtube.com/Player 3 podcast. We're all over the place, Diz. We've got our irons in many, many fires. All right. And so, you ready to get this party started?
I'm always ready to get this party started.
All right. So, first topic is. I gotta move this over
A very
here.
interesting story to me. I find it very entertaining.
I was perusing the interwebs, as those often do when they are bored and don't have pants on. And I stumbled across a story about an esports doping allegations.
I'm glad they're calling it esports. That's very interesting. We are now jocks.
Let me ask you that real quick. This is probably another topic for another show. But before we jump into this, do you consider competitive gaming to be a sport?
I think anything that is competitive in essence is a sport, because you're playing a game against another person and their ability. I mean, I did spend maybe 2 hours of my day last week watching a Mortal Kombat tournament on Twitch, which was very interesting. And I mean, these
was it ketchup and mustard?
They were hosting.
Yeah.
I mean, these dudes have put in a lot of hard work and time into perfecting this, just as other people who play their sport.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for people who are good enough to game competitively. However, I have a difficult time calling it a sport. I think sports have some level of athleticism that is required to do it, and gaming does not require said athleticism.
Well, I mean,
and is it competitive? Is it top tier? Does it take an incredible amount of talent to get there? Absolutely. But I think the gaming world is setting itself up for ridicule, and for, like, right now we are in a time where gaming is more accepted now than it ever has been. And I think we take a step backwards when we throw the word sport out for what we do and open ourselves up to ridicule from people who would look at that and scoff. And so if we could find a better word for it, like metal cartion.
metal caution.
Yeah.
All right, that's
so
So you say having a sport is competitive and athletic. All right, cheerleading is a sport.
see, I have a difficult time. I have a difficult time in that thing too. No, I'm going to stick here for a second, because I have a difficult time with any sport that is determined by the subjective opinions of people who are watching, which is what cheerleading and figure skating and all that sort of stuff are, because it's 5 people sitting at a table who are just not arbitrarily throwing out a number, but subjectively throwing out a number based on their opinion of how you did. Whereas, like, there are lines and hoops and standards in other sports where if I get to this point, or if I do this thing, I score this many points. And it's not up to somebody, but that's neither here nor there. So, some news from the metal cartion world here. This is coming from Eurogamer. The headline reads: Esports organization promises tougher drug rules after players admit doping.
And when I first heard this, I'm like, what are they down in Mountain Dew all the time? Because they are, but
see, I read it and I was like, why on earth do you need to take steroids? Like, the buttons are not that hard to press. But no, it has nothing to do with either of those things, Dizzy. What's up, Lone Wolf 87? It says, earlier this month, a professional Counter-Strike Global Offensive player claimed he and his teammates had used the performance-enhancing drug Adderall during a recent ESL tournament. The admission came during a video interview below with Corey Semphis Friesian. The interviewer's only response to the admission was to awkwardly turn to the camera and excuse it. Everyone uses Adderall, the interviewer told viewers before turning back to Friesen. Just throwing that out there in your defense. And so, yes, Adderall, which is used as like an upper, it helps you stay focused, gives you energy, and helps you pay more attention. And so these guys, rather than taking steroids to hit home runs, they're taking Adderall so that they can shoot their virtual opponent in the face.
Wow.
So, first of all, what are your thoughts on this story?
When I read it, like I said, I didn't know what to think at first, but when you told me that was the Adderall, I had never thought of it being a performance-enhancing drug, and it is, because people take it for tests, People take it to study for college or whatever they have going on. And it is meant to help you focus. Now, it is something that can be abused. But let's be honest. Is that reaction that you get from it so negative?
I don't know if it's about it, the reaction being negative, though. It's about it giving you a competitive edge.
Competitive edge. I've never had Adderall, so I don't know what it does. I don't know how it makes me.
You're in luck.
change.
I brought some Adderall.
Here we go.
Today. No, see, I read this story, and at first I'm like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever read. And again, back to the whole idea of like, people look at gaming differently than they look at other competitive things, and accusations of doping in any other competitive realm would draw the response of ire from fans of those things. And so it's like, you hear Barry Bonds shoots up on steroids, and it's like, well, even though he's the league leader in home runs for all time, he's not making it into the Hall of Fame. But then we read about doping in esports, and the first thing we do is we laugh. But then I start thinking, like, if you really want to be considered an esport, like esports, the thing that defines an esport is that it's balanced. Like, the reason Counter-Strike is so popular of an esport is because it is an incredibly balanced game. And that balance needs to carry over to the people who are playing themselves, to the gamers themselves. And so if people are seeing like, okay, Adderall gives people a competitive advantage, then that needs to come out of it, because you are trying to maintain balance in this thing so that it can be taken seriously. There was a follow-up article to this.
It's still a tough one for me.
Yeah, you go ahead and give your thoughts. Yeah, I'm going to have to move off of John Stamos here. But go ahead. What were you saying?
Because, but when it comes to games like that, you still have a style. You still have something that you build on. You still have something you can improve with. So taking the Adderall, I don't think would affect that. Would make you better in that essence. It's just, what does it do? Just keep you not distracted by things? I don't know what it does to you.
And I think that's where the disconnect for us is happening right here, because neither of us have taken Adderall. So, but obviously, it gives at least the perception of an advantage to these guys. If everybody's taking Adderall, it's either because it does something or because they've all convinced themselves it does something. Mm-hmm. And either way, they're doing it in order to give themselves something beyond who they actually are in order to gain a competitive edge. And so Polygon wrote an article that says Electronic Sports League to implement anti-doping policies, including drug testing. Here, let me switch this over. The Electronic Sports League, one of the world's foremost professional gaming organizations, plans to introduce policies intended to prevent competitors from using performance-enhancing drugs, the company announced today. Quote, in order to maintain the fair play spirit of our sport, ESL has partnered with NADA, National Anti-Doping Agency, located in Bonn, Germany, to help research and determine an anti-PEDs policy that is fair, feasible, and respects the privacy of the players while simultaneously providing conclusive testing results, said the ESL. And this is all just completely within reaction to to this guy admitting that he was trying to gain an advantage. And if esports wants to be taken seriously, I think that's a natural step. Every let me choose my word carefully. Every existing sport that we have has some form of drug testing to make sure that everybody's competing on an even playing field. And this is more of a mental thing, more of a mental game. And so why not test for things that would give you a mental advantage, just to be taken more seriously? But regardless.
Interesting.
That's not the topic that we had chosen out for this.
That's so interesting, though.
It's kind of like we're kind of seeing the birth of something that's going to become way bigger than what it was originally. Like, they've had esports on ESPN the last couple months. Mm-hmm. They had a Heroes of the Storm tournament, and then did you see the video of the guy playing? What was it? Evo. It was Evo 2015 was the thing. What it was called, right?
Maybe I haven't seen it then.
The dude was fighting this guy and beat him and started celebrating, thinking it was over, and then set the controller down, and the guy ended up beating
Yeah,
it again.
the
It was
guy
really
ended up
awesome. So anyway, esports are going to become bigger, and this stuff is just going to legitimize it more, I believe. So what started off as a ridiculous reaction from me has turned around to me being like, that makes a little bit of sense. I'm okay with this. All right, but again, not the topic that we had in mind for this. We've all cheated in some way, shape, or form in our lives, on whether it be a test, a video game, in a sport, or on your wife.
No,
Not
no,
us.
no,
Not us. We
no.
haven't cheated on our wives, but some of us have.
Not I.
Not I, but some of us.
Okay.
Anyway, let's talk about cheating in video games. Has there been a time where you've cheated in video games? What measures did you put in place when playing with your friends to make sure that cheating didn't happen? Have you ever been cheated on in video games?
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. Growing up, I was quite the cheater in video games. Like, I was the guy that had the Game Shark. I was on Cheat CC all the time. I had that big book of codes. I was that guy. But I never. Whenever I did the cheating, it was like those fun codes that you did in Tony Hawk to get, your skateboard's on fire or something like that. Just things that enhance the game but didn't, help you through it kind of thing. Anti-gravity, just for fun. But I have cheated to progress at least twice that I know of.
Like in a competitive game or in a single player game?
One of each.
Okay.
I know you've heard the story about Red Dead Revolver.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that game. I was having such a blast with it. And I couldn't beat the final boss. I just couldn't do it. So I was like, well, since I can't do it, I'm just going to shove it off on someone else. So I handed Larry the controller. And he beat the boss for me right then and there. So I beat the game, but I didn't beat the game. I technically cheated because I had someone else beat it for me.
See, the share play feature that PlayStation has? You may not know about this, where you can give somebody remote access to your PlayStation.
Yes.
Like one of the main things that they talked about doing, like implementing that, is for things like that, where if you're struggling to get past part of a game, you can hand the controller off to your friend. So, is it cheating?
Yes.
If it is accepted across the industry, and so much so that they developed an entire service so that you can do it.
Yes, I still think so, because you're ensuring, like, okay, if I couldn't beat the level but I know you could, I'm cheating because I need to just improve. I need to get better at it. But instead, I'm just going to shove it to the back and have you beat it for me. But that wasn't the biggest thing. Okay. Milky.
Oh,
right.
man.
But I have cheated majorly once. There was this arcade back home called Aladdin's Castle. And I was really into DDR. Like, I was into that for a while. And, there's just some of those songs that are just way too difficult. But you need to beat it. You need to get the high score on it.
For all the times you stood by me, for all the...
It's crazy. So what I did, I had this one song that was particularly difficult. So I had me and a friend of mine do it together. So I had the bottom and right, and they had the top and left. So we were able to beat this level because we had two people on the same pad. So that was a major cheat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But have I cheated competitively or hacked anything? No, never.
Wait, in DDR, do you not have to return to center? Like, do you not have to bring your feet back to the middle?
No, man, because it gets so fast you can't return to center.
Oh. That would be a way to make sure that doesn't happen.
Man, and then those songs would be impossible if you had to do that.
Have you seen the video of the Asian dude who's like real good at it, but he's having so much fun playing it?
Nah, I saw this one where this bigger dude was killing it and then he falls over in the end. It's beautiful.
I'm not
It's
seeing
beautiful.
Okay.
Are you a cheater? Are you a big fat cheater? Because I am.
I used to be in competitive realms of games, and now I am more so in terms of single player games where I can't get past the part. I figure out a way to cheat it.
You mean like competitively, like you're screen watching kind of thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like growing up, I played my brother in Madden. We were huge Madden fans, and he would all the time accuse me of like watching what play he selected,
Mm-hmm.
like kind of leaning back because you got square X and triangle to select your plays, and me just leaning back a little bit, a little smidgen like that, and checking out what he's playing. And I denied it up and down, but I looked all the time. It didn't make a difference. It didn't make a difference back then. Now, when we play each other, like it's really competitive when we play each other now. But like now, but back then, it didn't make a difference. He still killed me. So I started off my gaming life as a cheater. So yes,
I did too. Yes.
And then the only other thing I could really think about in terms of like me cheating a game was when I was playing The Witcher 3. And there is a part of the game where you go down into like this I don't know, it's like this cave system that you have to go down into. You're looking for crap. I can't think of anything. You're looking for like a witch or something down in this base, but you have to fight this knight who's down there, and he was way stronger than me when I did the fight, and I didn't realize that I had to be such a higher level to get down into it. But I figured out a way to get him in a corner where the game kind of glitched out, and he couldn't get out of the corner, and I would just constantly attack him in that.
But is exploiting glitches really a cheat because it's a part of the game technically?
I think cheating can be defined as doing something that was not intended to be done to progress in a game. And the developers, when they developed that boss fight, didn't develop it in such a way that was like, all right, if they can get him in that corner, then they'll be able to do it. Like, they want you to fight that guy straight up. Mm-hmm. So I cheated the game itself. Now, I don't feel bad about it at all. What's up, Cybernethy and Thunder Buddy? We are talking about cheating in video games. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this, and I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here. You may not have thought about this, and if not, I have some filler answers. Have you ever been cheated on in a video game? Like playing competitively against somebody, has somebody cheated against you?
Well, I mean, when you're playing Halo and you're playing Call of Duty, you're always seeing cheaters, whether they are or not. So I don't know.
I've never been killed by somebody who wasn't cheating.
See, I've been cheating on all the time, man. Oh, you killed me, so you're cheating. Yes, so absolutely.
I watched this dude playing Halo 1. He was like super high up in rank, but anytime he get killed, he was like, "Oh my gosh, that guy's just totally trying to glitch out." Blah blah blah. I'm like, maybe he's just like decent at the game.
Yeah, maybe.
You ever considered that?
Maybe.
But any specific times you can think of?
Nothing that was completely ridiculous. Because I mean, I'm not a very competitive gamer, but when it was pretty much just Modern Warfare and Halo. So you're always seeing something that seems very glitchy, something seems very cheaty, but nothing like straight up like wasn't there this trick in Madden where like if you pause it and did something, it would disconnect you and you would get the win?
Every year there's some crap like that where they overlook something in the online world and people take advantage of it. Like there was a glitch in this last year's Madden where you could pause it after like the 30-second mark in the fourth quarter, and then like it wouldn't send you back to the game ever. Like normally there's a countdown where if you don't back out of the pause menu within 30 seconds, it puts you in. But like people would just pause it and just leave and wait for the other person to quit. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's always something in it.
Yeah, nothing like that has ever happened to me. That exploitive, but because like I said, I just haven't expanded my horizons in what I do competitively. In fact, it's kind of just died off overall. Yeah. But no, nothing that exploitive, such as someone using a straight up cheap move to get the win.
Yeah. Let's see. There were really only 2 times. One time when I was in youth group, we had a time where we went over to my youth minister's house, and he had an Xbox, an original Xbox, and another guy brought an original Xbox, and we were doing a Halo LAN party.
Woo!
And we were in the same
How it's
room
done.
for a while until like a fight almost broke out between 2 dudes about screen looking.
Oh my gosh.
And so it's like I don't know, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and our youth minister was like, "Look, most youth ministers would be like, look, either you stop fighting about this, or we're just not going to play."
Yeah.
My youth minister at the time was like, "All right, guys, we're riding down to the 24-hour Walmart. We're going to buy a 100-foot Ethernet cable so that we can put you in separate rooms."
Oh, wow.
So we ended up being put in separate rooms, and it. We obviously didn't fight because you can't screen look playing in separate rooms. Got distracted by my phone here. And then the other time we had my first semester at school, we had a Madden franchise on the hall, and there were probably 10 of us that played in it.
Oh, wow.
And
Impressive.
I didn't really think about setting up rules because up until that point, the only people I played franchises with for the most part were my brother, and we kind of just had unspoken, unsaid rules because we're sim players of those kinds of games. We want to keep it semi-realistic. But there was a guy that lived on our hall named Joe Sabella, and this isn't even nearly the funniest story that we can tell about Joe Sabella. But regardless, he was a huge Cleveland Browns fan.
He was, yes.
And so he starts the season with the Cleveland Browns, and this was back in the day when they had like Derek Anderson and like they sucked. They were horrible. But what he did was he went in at the beginning of the year and signed every free agent that was a 70 or above overall, and then he took almost his entire team, and I think he had like over 100 trades before the preseason was even over, and so we ended up quitting the season, and I was like, all right, we're going to restart. But here's the thing. You can only, because like in the real NFL, if you sign a player, they have to play for your team and for so many months before you can deal them. So I was like, you can sign players, but you can't trade them until after, they've been playing for you for so many weeks. And Joe was so mad. He was so mad. He was like, "So you want me to play with the Browns?" I'm like, "You're a Browns fan. You're a Browns fan, and you didn't have anybody that played for the Browns on your team by the time it was over." So those are really the only 2 times I can think about, like really people cheating against me.
Is that cheating, or he just worked the system?
He worked the system. To me, cheating is when it's not in the spirit of the game. Like in The Witcher, it's not in the spirit of the game to corner that guy and kill him. It's not in the spirit of Madden to go sign all the free agents just to trade them.
You're saying if you weren't fighting a real witch, you wouldn't try to corner her?
That's right. I would. Let's see. I like to play Team Fortress 2. I get killed by people glitching out a map and setting up sentries. They can shoot you. You can't shoot them. It sucks, but I don't glitch. No. That's from Thunder _Buddy. Thank you for chatting along with us. We really enjoy it. How do you people feel about using mod menus in what is that? What's BO2? Is that a PC game or is that Black Ops 2? I don't know what he's talking about there. Anytime, if it's an online competitive match and you're doing something to try to cheat the system, I'm all for the kind of like shadow banning that gets done in cheating, where it's like you can glitch and mod and do all that, but we're not going to tell you we're doing it, but we're going to put you on servers only with people
other
that
cheaters.
cheat. And so you all can just run to the edges of the map and try to glitch out of it, and no one's going to get killed in them. So I'm all for that way of combating.
Who does that?
Oh, crap. Dude, if you wouldn't have asked me, I could have told you.
Well, my mistake.
It's a bunch of PC games that do it. I think Titanfall PC did it. And one of either H1Z1 or DayZ, one or the other, I think, did that as well. So
Cool.
So yeah, Black Ops 2. But yeah, any form of cheating how do you feel like online cheaters should be handled?
Dude, that's perfect. That's so brilliant. Like, do they even know that they're
No,
in
they
this?
don't get informed.
That's so good.
It just happens.
I
They just
love
slide
it.
in. I'm always worried about that kind of stuff because I'm like, how do they determine? Like, is it based on being reported? Do they have some way of the system telling if they're trying to glitch out? Or
Well, I don't know about stuff like first person shooters, but I do know in the realm of like Guitar Hero and Rock Band, when you see that this person who's number one in the world has like 2 billion points in this song, it's impossible. They're cheating.
yeah,
But I don't know about the first person shooters.
yeah. That's the one thing about like online leaderboards that's so tough. It's like you can never trust them because there's always somebody who's going to find a way. Let me text my wife real quick. We got a new dog, and we're trying to get her on a schedule of eating, and I did not feed the dogs. So I'm going to be a terrible parent if that day ever comes, which we can only pray it doesn't. All right. We're going to move on to the next topic here, but before we do that, let me just welcome everybody to the stream. Thank you for tuning in. This is 3 Topic Thursday with Luke and Diz. We are about to move on to topic 2, but let me just tell you right now, you can follow us here at twitch.tv/player3podcast. If you've missed any of this episode and you want to check it out, it gets pushed out in its fullest form on youtube.com/player3podcast, and then we do a show on Monday. If you want to have your topic included in 3 Topic Thursday, you can leave us a tip at the link I'm about to drop in the chat here, and $5 gets you guaranteed to have your topic
$5?
$5 on a 3 Topic Thursday in the future. And all of that money goes to improving the stream. Thank you guys. Make sure you hit that follow button. All right. Next topic. Dizzy, you came up with this, so I'm going to let you take
Oh my
the lead.
goodness. It's right there. Okay. So, election time.
The worst time to be alive.
Worst time.
The worst time to be on social media.
Mm-hmm. So it's around the corner. It's something that we're going to have to be listening to quite a bit. So you have all these different people that are running for presidency. You have all these different people running for whatever, Senate, something like that. I'm not very into politics. But they all have their own stances. They all have their own, pros and their cons to them. So you got to really pick the person that you think is perfect for the job, and you got to go for it. So I was thinking, of the video game characters, who would you vote for to be president?
For the longest time, I did not vote. And this is not the question you asked. But yes, I was not much of a voter. Hold on one second. I forgot to start sub alert, and somebody just followed us, and 2 people just followed us, and their names probably aren't going to show up. So let me start this.
Sub
and
alert.
then we're going to come back here, and we're going to hope this high encoding warning on OBS goes away. All right, we're good. All right. Let us know in the chat how the quality of the video is right now too. That would be great. But yes, I did not vote for the longest time because I was like, it just doesn't make a difference. It's like you're voting between a turd and a giant douche.
Yes. Yes.
One of the more brilliant episodes of South Park. There's a lot of brilliant episodes of South Park, but that was a very brilliant.
And they're like, your vote counts, and it's like 37 to 492.
Because that's just how I always felt about it. So I didn't vote. However, now I vote, and I'm very engaged politically. And I have a lot of ideologies and I have a lot of thoughts and opinions on things, but I'm not going to open up about those.
Because I couldn't say anything back. I have none.
But that's fine. I'm okay with that.
I don't feel like I'm educated enough to have an opinion. I'm not just going to go blah, 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 this, and that. I want to understand it before I open my mouth.
Blah, blah, blah. I'm voting for John Kerry this year. But anyway, the thing about it is, one of my ideologies, I'm very pacifist. I'm a very nonviolent person. I don't own guns. I'm also a libertarian, so I don't care what you think. Like, if you want to own a gun, knock yourself out. Like, that's fully within your right.
Brilliant.
But for me personally, I'm a pacifist, and I like to vote. I would like to vote for people who war is the last resort. They want to do it diplomatically. They have some compassion within themselves. But I was thinking, like, but so many characters are just violent. Like, they exist in very violent universes and war-torn places, and so. But I think in those moments, you see the people. There's an opportunity for people who see war to not want to go to war if they were placed in a position of leadership. But then the other thing that makes this question very difficult is so many characters are anti-establishment in terms of like a lot of narratives that happen are against the status quo and against, structure. Like all the assassins exist outside of the establishment. I thought about like Joel from The Last of Us. He's a very strong character. Joel's the kind of guy who would get tricked into running for like city council. Like he's got like 20 people who are like, you need to run for city council, and he's like, I'll give it a shot. I know I'm not going to win, but it'll shut people up. And then 6 months later, he's celebrating in his living room because he got elected to the city council. Well, everybody around him celebrating, and he's just kind of got his head in his hands because he's like, crap, I just wanted to shut people up, and now I'm part of the city council. So, but anyway, back to what I was talking about. After saying all that, it's very odd who my choice is, because I think Master Chief would make a good president.
Interesting. Like one of the strongest warriors in the video game community.
But think about what Halo was. Like the sheer capacity of destruction that Halo was capable of doing. And he fought against that because he knew that its existence was dangerous not only to him and his people, but to the universe as a whole. And so that gave him scope, it gave him perspective. And by seeing that, he saw where power-hungry people can end up. And that is with systems in place to destroy entire galaxies. And so because of that, I feel like he would enter into presidency with a perspective on war that would make him believe that fighting is maybe not the last resort, but there are other means. The other reason I say that too, though, is because he is still capable of compassion, despite the fact that he is such a warrior. Like him and Cortana's friendship over those games develops, and they form a tight bond. And he is willing to sacrifice for those he loves, for those that he is close to. And that's what I want in a leader. I want a leader who has scope and perspective on the impact of his decisions, but is willing to go the distance for the people that he cares most about.
Brilliant.
But I also think Commander Shepard would make a good one.
Looks like
Mad Brock agrees.
Brock agrees.
Yeah, I think Commander Shepard would make a good president because he's well-rounded. He kind of understands it all. He's he can be very diplomatic, but he can also be kind of an a-hole, and he can also kick your tail in a fight, So I think Commander Shepard would be a good one too.
But then you brought up a very important fact about Commander Shepard, is that he's the person you make him.
Yeah, right. Which means he's coded to have the capacity for all of these things because you get to choose what you do. But as he stands as a character, and in saying that, you can play Mass Effect in an evil way, so he has the capacity for great evil. So I take it back. Not Commander Shepard.
Not Commander
It's
Shepard.
hard with those kinds of characters just because of those sorts of things. But yeah.
Okay. So you would go with Master Chief.
Yeah.
Cool deal. Cool deal. So he's going to wear his armor the whole time in presidency. We never actually get to see him.
I'm sure he's disgusting under there.
So
all genetically mutated and stuff.
Hasn't taken a shower in at least 10 years.
No. There's no anti-sweat technology in there. You can't get deodorant on those armpits.
Oh my gosh. He probably has this amazing beard.
That's true. But it's all
like
curled up
curled
around
up.
his head. How about you?
Okay. I chose Samus, or Samus, depending on how you want to pronounce it. The reason why I chose Samus is from what you see in her personality, she initially started out as just, a vehicle. She was just a character. She really didn't have an identity till later on. But when she did have the identity, we just seen more and more and more out of her. So what we could see is that she's a very determined person. She has a good head on her shoulders. When she starts something, she finishes it. And that's something that I really value in a leader, is someone that says they're going to do something and then follows through.
Mm-hmm.
she's that kind of person. She's very determined. But we also see that she's compassionate, because I forgot which game it was, but she actually showed compassion to one of the Metroids, and saw that in the innocence of that Metroid being born, that what did you find?
Hold on.
What did you find?
I'm sorry, man. You were like all going and talking about compassion and stuff, and then I haul off and I find this picture right here of hold on, we're gonna put it up here. Of Samus as Sarah Palin as Samus.
Don't you know it was a destroyed White House in the background?
Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
She's compassionate. Okay. We also see that she's very unfazed. She goes up against these horrible monsters, and she gets the job done, and it doesn't seem to really affect her. Like in the manga, she gets kind of. I think they said that she gets post-traumatic stress disorder, but we don't see that in the video game. She's very unfazed. So we're seeing this person who's determined, compassionate, and unfazed, as well as being the first female president. I think that is just that is a good leader to me. Someone who has those qualities. Plus, I mean, everyone's on this bandwagon of getting the first female president. Might as well be someone real legit.
Mm-hmm, like Hillary Clinton.
And she'll protect us from the space pirates. Will Hillary Clinton protect us from the space pirates? I don't think.
We are looking for life.
And we're going to find space pirates.
We are going to find space pirates.
And Samus is like, I hate them. Let's kill them all.
And if she wins the presidency fast enough, we get to see her in a bikini.
That's how it works. That's how it works.
I like that question. Because you got to consider all the realms. Like, there are some people that would make bad presidents.
Oh, yeah.
Like Wario.
Yes. I think Mario would make a bad president because, yeah, he's a nice guy, but he can't even protect his own girlfriend, let alone the rest of America.
No, we have talked about this, man. We have talked about this.
That's a conspiracy theory.
No, it is not a conspiracy theory, but I'll put the conspiracy theory hat on.
Yeah, that's it. That's that.
For the sake of talking about this. Look. Bowser and Mario are in cahoots. They're best friends. Bowser's playing ultimate wingman. He's trying to be ultimate wingman. But here's what happened. See, Bowser is like, hey, Mario, damsel in distress. Everyone loves damsel in distress. Like everyone loves the White Knight saving the damsel in distress. So, you like Princess Peach? Here's what I'll do. I'll kidnap her for you. And it's all just like a ruse. So Mario's like, oh, that's good. And he says, I'm going to take her to this castle over here. And you're going to have to jump over some Wumpas and collect some coins and do all that stuff. But once you get to the end, Princess is going to be there. She's going to fall into your arms. Well,
here's the thing.
Yeah, here's the thing. Bowser took her. Done fell in love. Took himself, fell in love.
And every time he sees Mario get a little closer, he's like, here, come on, let's go to my other castle. Yeah. I have numerous castles.
Yeah, and so Mario just thinks that he's like gonna get tons and tons of brownie points from just going to all these castles. But Bowser's never, a lot like Rick Astley, never gonna give her up, and never gonna let her down. But so it's all just a ruse. Like nobody, Mario's never going to get her, but it serves him right for trying to trick her. But here we go. Mario, the current president, in front of former President Barack Obama, come 2016. We're using it. Look, we developed the screen capture technology.
I like the screen capture.
We're using it as much as we want. All right, I'm taking the conspiracy theory hat off now. All right.
So good.
You ready for the next topic?
I am, and I'm leading this one in, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we've talked how I was looking forward to 3 games.
What 3 games?
Well, I mean, 2. One's already out. The one was No Man's Sky. The other one was that primitive game where you get to play as the trout. What was that called?
Wild?
Wild, yep. And then when oh my gosh, I forgot it again. It just came out not too long ago. It's the over the top shooter.
Hotline Miami?
Yeah, Hotline Miami. Yes.
Tokyo Express.
Tokyo Express. Those were the games that I was really looking forward to playing. But guess what? Just for PlayStation.
And you own an Xbox.
And I own an Xbox. So I'm bitter. I'm very bitter. So what I wanted to talk to you about was the pros and cons of having exclusive titles. And the pros and cons of having a multi-platform title. Like what do you think are the best reasons to make a title exclusive? And what do you think are some of the best reasons to have a multi-platform title?
All right.
Because I'm bitter
so,
about
so
it.
pros and cons reasons. All right. So we're just gonna have a discussion about
Yes.
multi-platform and exclusives. Okay. There's really 4 tiers, but we're gonna lump 2 tiers together in terms of exclusives. You have first and second party exclusives. We'll put all that together.
Mm-hmm.
So you got like exclusives from studios that are owned by either like Sony or Microsoft. Then you have second party where it's just they're not owned by them, but they only develop for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have third party exclusives where it's like, hey, we want that game to just be on our console, so we're going to pay for it and bring it over. And then you have multi-platform that spans the range. So, let's start with first party, and let's talk about pros first. I think a pro to first party games is. For me, there's 2. Number 1, a game can be specifically developed for that platform and really maximize the power of that platform. So, like, you have The Last of Us released exclusively on the PlayStation 3 near the end of the PlayStation 3 life cycle, and it's arguably one of the best looking games of that generation, not just on PlayStation 3, but between PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. That could not have been achieved had it been a multi-platform game. And so, and I guess that's true for a third-party game as well, but I don't think it stands as true. But the best looking games on either console, for the most part, are the ones that are developed first or second party exclusive for those consoles. So I think that's one of the benefits. But then the second thing is that it motivates competition. And I say that because a game like Halo comes out, completely morphs the idea of what a first-person shooter is.
Mm-hmm.
And so they develop Microsoft has a very, very solid first-person shooter game, which motivated PlayStation to begin developing Killzone, which never caught up in terms of popularity to Halo, but in terms of quality, is still a very, very solid game. And it just motivates these studios to try to one-up their opponents. And so those are, to me, are the pros of that. Moving on to like a third-party exclusive game is that a third-party game... Oh, let me go back to the first party with this, because let's see. I'll come back to Milky's point.
Bacon.
And Bacon's here. Zephyr, Bacon, everyone's showing up now. And no, Zephyr, Diz is not dead. Going back to the first party idea, is it really allows you to develop a game that is geared towards the vision for your company. And when I say that, I'm thinking more about Nintendo, where Nintendo kind of firmly grasped the idea of games are simply supposed to be fun at their core. And so with them having first party studios developing, they can go to those studios and say, look, you can make this game and do whatever you want with it, but at the core, we want it to be fun, and we want it to be family oriented, and they get to kind of dictate that. With PlayStation and studios like Naughty Dog especially, they can go and say, we want really gritty, really realistic, really story-driven games, and they go in and they develop these games, and they're well received because of what they are, and they match the vision. Microsoft can go in to a game like Halo or a game like Gears and say, we want something that has a really good online multiplayer experience, and they can gear that towards that vision. So those are the benefits to a first-party game, exclusive games. Now, cons to those games, the only one that I can think of is that they're oftentimes great games that people that own other consoles just can't enjoy. So, Bloodborne comes out, is exclusive to PlayStation 4, and which I guess that's more of a third-party exclusive game. But Xbox owners can't can't enjoy them. So that would really be the only con that I can think to that. I've been talking a lot.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's great. Because I didn't break it down to this level. That's awesome.
I like charts.
That's great. When it comes to exclusives, to me, I feel like to really get the bang for your buck, to really get the impact that you want, it needs to be a console seller. Like, people buy Xbox to play Halo.
Yeah.
You know, people back in the day bought PlayStation to play God of War.
Or MLB The Show,
That's true.
like me.
Those are console sellers. So I want to transition into my bigger question, but you still have a lot of good things written down. I don't want to jump ahead.
Yeah, well,
These
we
are
can
great.
just keep talking about exclusives, then we'll talk about multi-platform.
Okay.
So then you got third-party exclusives, and really the pros to these. Hold on, let me write this down before I forget what that point was that I was going to make. What's up, CPM Alpha? Thanks for tuning into the stream. Make sure you hit that follow button. As far as like third-party exclusive goes, the pros are really industry side, because think about Titanfall and where Xbox One was before Titanfall. And they had just had their abysmal E3 2013 where everybody was jumping ship and talking about how bad of a vision Xbox had. For them to go to EA and back up a truckload of money and say, hey, we'll pay you to have this be exclusive on the Xbox, saved the Xbox. Like, that was a huge exclusive at the beginning of 2014 coming out in March that really saved that company and saved that console to an extent. And then, obviously, with their vision changes, like, it wasn't all on Titanfall, but it helped. And so, oftentimes, really what it does is it just kind of bolsters your exclusive lineup without you having to pour money into owning a studio and hiring talent. Like, these studios and these IPs already exist, and all you're doing is paying for the right for it to just be on your console. But it also, and I have a lot of negative things to say about third-party exclusives because I think in terms of consumers, it craps on us a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Tomb Raider comes out, something that's been on PlayStation for a long, long time, started on PlayStation. Xbox backs up a truckload of money to Square Enix, and all of a sudden they've got timed exclusivity. It's coming out at the end of 2016 on PS4, they announced today. But regardless, like, now PS4 owners, PlayStation fans who made Tomb Raider possible to begin with, are now going to have to wait a year after its original release to avoid spoilers and play the game. However, for some games, and even Tomb Raider included, and we talk about this on P3P when the Tomb Raider stuff happened, like, everyone gets all up in arms about it, but really third-party exclusivity sometimes can narrow the gap of dev costs, where you're being fronted the money to finish this game that you may not have had the funds to finish it to begin with because, you know, like, pre-order money isn't rolling in and all that sort of stuff. So Microsoft comes and says, hey, we'll give you $200 million to have this exclusive on our console. And I have no idea how the numbers work. I'm just throwing crap out. Then you can apply that money to your development costs, and it can really help you to polish off a game that may not have made it to market to begin with. Like, everybody got so upset about Tomb Raider, and rightfully so, to an extent. But the rise of the Tomb Raider, the reboot of the Tomb Raider thing that came out, the one that had the definitive edition, did not sell nearly as well as Square Enix was hoping it was going to. And so bringing another game to fruition, one of these big AAA titles, may have been a stretch that, you know, the suits would have looked at and said, this game didn't sell that well. We're not going to give you X amount of money to develop another one where we may not see a return. Mm-hmm. So Microsoft coming in saying we're going to give you this money may have been the thing that greenlighted this game to begin with. Now, Titanfall's a little bit different of a story. Like, that game was going to sell, and Xbox just needed it. Mm-hmm. And was that Respawn that made? I think it was Respawn that made Titanfall. They were like, you know, we didn't want this thing to be exclusive. The rug got pulled out from under us on this. But so there's benefits and there's pros and cons to third party. I would love a world where we didn't need third party exclusivity. I understand industry wise why it helps with the development costs and it helps with bolstering exclusive lineups for these consoles. But as a consumer, it just sucks. it sucks to see a game that had it not been for a truckload of money being backed up to these companies would have made its way to both consoles. I'm better with first and second because those are resources that are being.
Yeah, that makes absolute sense. So where does No Man's Sky fall in this? First, second, third?
It's weird because we don't know the nature of the exclusivity for No Man's Sky.
Mm-hmm.
From everything that I'm seeing, it seems like a second party, where like Sony doesn't own Hello Games, obviously, because the game's coming out on PC as well. But they've given them a ton of time on their stages, and I think they've given them a lot of money, maybe to hire contractors to work on this game or whatever, like to help get this game to market. And depending on how much money that is, this could be a second-party exclusive for Sony. However, there's also all the rumblings that Xbox is like, we need this game on our consoles.
Yeah.
We want this game on our consoles. So
people were really believing in it.
So it could go to the third tier of exclusives, which is timed exclusives, which is like what Tomb Raider is, where it's like, this will be out first on console on PlayStation 4, and after X amount of time, it's going to come to Xbox. But they've been so veiled about the nature of it that I don't even know if they have it worked out what kind of exclusivity this thing's going to have. And if I've missed anything in the last couple days about it, I think that's where we're still at, is that we just don't know. So, yeah, I don't know where it falls on this.
Man. So we're seeing Sony pour out the support and most likely tons of money to this game that the company has not proven themselves yet. That's a lot of trust. That's a lot of belief in it.
They haven't proven themselves to us yet. They might have proven themselves to Sony now, because they've been playing this game on some sort of a build of it to where like the procedural generation is working, because they say every time that Sean Murray sits down to play this game, he is playing the game. It's not like a vertical slice or anything. So they've probably proven themselves to Sony. It's just a matter of if they've proven themselves to us. But anyway,
so this leads to the big question: since they have this exclusivity and they're pouring all this time and money into it, do you think No Man's Sky, it's going to be just download, right? Or is it going to be disc based?
I don't know yet.
Well,
I think it'll probably be one of those that like starts off digital and then it's so popular they're like, we're coming out with a limited run physical release of it.
So you got this company who has not done anything previously, I believe, console wise at least, and do you think that it's going to pay off? Do you think that No Man's Sky is going to sell consoles?
This is the interesting thing about Sony and with PlayStation. Like, Sony has a sizable lead over the Xbox One right now, over Microsoft. And what's exclusive on it right now? Bloodborne, MLB The Show, The Order 1886. What else? I mean, there's others, but in terms of like big name exclusives, like there isn't many, and all of the exclusives that have been announced for Sony aren't coming out until 2016 or later. Like there is not a single exclusive game of note coming out from Sony in the last half of this year, and so, but yet they're still selling. Like they're still selling these consoles, and there's nothing that you can't play on these other systems that you can play on PlayStation, except for like MLB The Show and some indies and Resogun and Bloodborne and those sorts of things. Like those are big deals. Don't get me wrong, but like Bloodborne and MLB The Show are very niche games. Like you either have to be a fan of sports or of crying yourself to sleep at night. But Zephyr says he hears there's a disc base in the works for No Man's Sky. And I can easily see that. So I don't know if Sony cares if No Man's Sky is a system seller in the grand scheme of things. Like I don't think there's any such thing as that killer app anymore. That thing that's gonna put another company out of business. However, like you saw that No Man's Sky was coming to PS4 only, and you were like, well, for the time, and you were disappointed. And let me ask you this: if you had the money to go get a PS4 right now, like if you had the expendable income to just go toss $400 at a PlayStation 4, would you do it to play No Man's Sky?
Yes.
So is it a system
would.
seller?
I'm going to say yes. My answer is yes.
Yeah, for you it
Yes.
is. And if it's a system seller for you, it's a system seller for everybody. Like it's a system seller for a ton of people who are especially on the fence about it. And that's what it matters more than having just a game that we are so bombarded by media nowadays that like there's never going to be that thing that you see and it just blows your socks off and you're like, well, I was not even considering buying a PlayStation and now I'm going to. So they have to find things that they can market to people who are like you sitting on the fence of like, I really want an excuse to buy a PlayStation. And No Man's Sky is absolutely an excuse for buying a PlayStation because there's nothing else like it. Mm-hmm. Like there's no procedurally generated game where I can go explore this vast infinite universe with hundreds of millions of planets that I can land on. Like you don't find that experience anywhere else. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's going to be a system seller. Like Halo existed in a time where I wasn't able to play LAN party games with like multiplayer shooter games with with 7 of my friends. Like it made it a system seller because it stood apart as something so incredibly different. And No Man's Sky is incredibly different. So anyway, yeah,
Beautiful.
I think so.
I do too. And it's astonishing that this game came out of nowhere. It's not a AAA title. It's not from a big name company, but it is causing such a buzz. Like I was telling Ben that, for the last 20 years, games keep getting bigger and more expansive because people want that sense of exploration and discovery. That's why we have so many open world games. And this game has a nearly unlimited amount of possibilities. Like that has not been seen before. I'm all about that. So,
and what bigger of a universe can you put people in than this is infinite? I'm interested in price point for this game. And not to make this just a No Man's Sky thing, but I'm interested in, because there's some people who think that this is going to be like a digital price, like $20-$30.
No.
And then there's other people who think it's going to be full retail price of $60. But it's one of those things. It's like it's so different, and you got to remember too. Like we're excited about this game because we're in this sphere of people who are really, really connected in games, and throw up a No Man's Sky, something from a studio no one's ever heard of, like in a concept that's a little like never been done before and kind of weird, like, and you only are somewhat into games. The best marketing tool is to put a $19.99 price on it or a $29.99 price on it. Especially if the first thing you open and use, and one of the first 10 words you see is infinite, talking about it being an infinite universe. Zephyr says at the moment it's 45 pounds. That's probably placeholder numbers. I don't think they've announced anything.
I think it needs to be around that number, 45, 50, because.
Well, that's probably $60.
There we go, 60. Because it's so heavily backed by Sony, they're not just going to let it go for $20.
I don't know. If this is a studio you're thinking about bringing in and making a first party, which I'm just wild speculation here. But if they've
don't scare me like that.
They've spent a ton of time and they've spent a bunch of money, and so if this is a studio that you're wanting to invest in beyond No Man's Skies, you're going to want everybody and their brother to experience a Hello Games game.
But what's their next level? What's their next step? How are you going to get bigger than what they have already?
I don't know if it's necessarily about getting bigger, but I think it's like this was a visionary who put together a bunch of math and figured out how to make an infinite game. Like, we need that talent over at our company. Let's bring him in and figure out what he can ingeniously innovate on next. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be another space exploration game, but it's like if you can own the studio that says, from the makers of No Man's Sky comes blah, 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 and 20 million people, not 20 million people, 15 million people, 10 million people have played No Man's Sky. Think of it just the marketing diving board you got there. Like, that's a springboard to the next thing. And then that game becomes a system seller. Because 10 million people are like, No Man's Sky was great. Now Sean Murray's making this game. Mm-hmm. So, Sony knows what they're doing.
Fascinating.
Sony knows what they're doing.
Gosh.
And then moving on to multi-platform, pros and cons. The pros that the gamer wins. Like you don't. It takes the decision out of it. Like I can either play this on my PlayStation, I can play it on my Xbox. If you're like me or Ben or Seth, where we own both, like I can just go where my friends are. Like if you're gonna buy it, I'll just get it on Xbox. I signed you up for the
I saw that.
for the beta for
How
Six
many
Siege.
people can play at once?
5. That's why it's perfect. So anyway, the only real con to a multi-platform game is that sometimes in order to be able to be available across multi-platforms, then they'll get downscaled and limited. Especially if it's cross-gen. Like that was the problem with Destiny. Is,
And
in a lot of
with
games.
Shadow.
Yeah,
Yep.
Is it's hard to market those things. Like it's hard to market Shadow and Mordor, and then not feel like not have a whole fan base of people playing on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 or getting gypped because it's less of a game. But even like between PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, like there are games that run better on one or the other. Like Batman ran better on Xbox than it did on PlayStation, but like The Witcher runs better on PlayStation than it does on Xbox, and it's like there's not parity between the systems in terms of performance sometimes, and that can be hard. But yeah,
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
what do you think about timed exclusivity? Like with Tomb Raider being like, hey, a year out.
For me, it just depends on how much they're actually spending to have that. I mean,
I have no clue. And what do you think about is Tomb Raider a system seller?
used to be,
Yeah.
but now it's going to Xbox first. That's so weird.
That was my thing when I heard it. Is like the only place this could be a system seller is on PlayStation. And I mean, is it going to sell systems on Xbox? Maybe, but it's not going to sell enough to make a difference. It's not going to sell enough to make up for whatever Microsoft paid, probably. And I don't know the nature of that deal, but especially now that they've come out and said that, hey, it's coming out on PlayStation 4 in holiday 2016, and it's like, we don't need Tomb Raider. We got Uncharted coming. We can hold out. We'll be playing Uncharted, especially when we've got the collection coming out in October. We can play the first 3 games. But yeah, I thought it was weird. But timed exclusivity as a whole, like, what do you think?
I gotta think about it.
Because to me, it's like the ultimate FU to fans.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. It's like, hey, and this isn't just in games. It's like in content too. And both PlayStation and Xbox are guilty of this, like with COD maps and all that sort of stuff and Destiny stuff. Where like there's stuff in Destiny right now on the PlayStation that won't be available for another 9 months on Xbox, and it's like, why? Why screw people out of stuff like for the sake of just? I don't even know if that's a console seller. Maybe it is. It has to be, or else they wouldn't spend the money to do it. But yeah, the timed exclusivity thing to me is really meh. See you, Zephyr. Thanks for stopping by. All right. Anything else? Is that it? That was a good show. It was a long show. It's a good show. We went about an hour and 8 minutes. I liked it. If you're watching us here on twitch.tv/player3podcast, make sure you hit that follow button. You can leave us a tip, and for $5, your topic is guaranteed to be on Player 3
Guaranteed.
on 3 Topic Thursday with Luke and Diz. And this is where we're gonna cut the YouTube video, but we always stick around for a little bit to just talk about nonsense with the chat and hang out. Probably geek out a little bit more about the awesome stuff that's coming for Player 3 Podcast here in the future, while also not saying a word about what it is.
We're going to be so vague.
That's right. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you subscribe over at youtube.com/player3podcast. Find our Monday shows on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, YouTube, and over here on Twitch every Monday at 4 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Freeze frame.
Free train.
All right.